The story begins following the path of a young pregnant woman named Lena Grove, who has fled her home in Alabama in search of her child's father, a man named Lucas Birch. She eventually arrives in a town called Jefferson, where she meets a worker named Byron Bunch, who falls in love with her at once. Byron tells her about two men, Joe Christmas and Joe Brown, who recently arrived in the town and work at the same mill. He mentions they run a bootlegging enterprise out of the house they're staying at, which belongs to a Miss Burton, which has just caught flames. When she hears this story, Lena asks for details about Joe Brown and realizes he is the same person as Lucas Birch, the father of her child. Byron is determined to help Lena as best he can, so he visits his friend, the disgraced Reverend Hightower. He shares with the Reverend Lena's predicament and mentions that Miss Burton was found murdered in her burning home, with Joe Brown near the scene. When Miss Burton's relative posted a bounty, Joe Brown turned himself in and claimed that his accomplice, Joe Christmas, was responsible. The story then flashes back to 2 days before the murder, when Joe Christmas and Joe Brown were hanging out at Miss Burton's house. The next morning, Christmas, a biracial man, is forced to shave himself in a nearby clearing, while his white accomplice, Joe Brown, is able to use the barbershop. The day goes by, and Christmas is angry at many things and wanders around town, being accepted by neither whites nor blacks. He finds his way back to the house, but realizes he is holding a razor in his hand. Another flashback occurs to Christmas's childhood in a Memphis orphanage, when he is 5 years old and adopted by a cruel, devout man named Mr. McEachern. 3 years later, Mr. McEachern begins beating Christmas for not learning the Bible. As he grows older, Christmas begins stealing his parents' money and sneaking out at night, and eventually his parents catch wind of it. One night, Joe goes to a dance with a prostitute named Bobby, and when his father follows him there, he kills him with a blow to the head. Christmas then flees the town and lives the next 15 years on the run before he arrives in Jefferson. He has a relationship with Miss Burton, who allows him to live in her house.